Why hello there everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and happy Halloween. Tomorrow, as of when this video is coming out, is the spookiest day of the year, so I thought I'd bring you guys a somewhat spooky but not really speed build. We are building the house exterior for Kiki, and we're also going to be building a little orchard and a massive pumpkin farm. But as you can see, just before we really get into the meat of the speed build, I do in fact remember that it is Halloween and I changed my costume. So 10 points to your Hogwarts house if you can tell me who I'm currently dressed up as. Hint, I dressed as this character last year. You know, this was very much so a crap, I forgot that it's Halloween, let's just reuse the same costume moment. So yeah, let me know who I am in the comments down below. So last week I did a poll over on my community tab where I asked you guys whether this week you'd prefer to see a video where I talk about my thoughts on restarting your island before the 2.0 update comes out, or whether you'd want to see a little spooky moment of a speed build. And as you can see, the speed build did win out, but not by a massive margin. 40% of you still wanted to hear my thoughts on whether or not I'd ever restart my island before the 2.0 update drops. So I kind of realized, wait, I usually chat a lot of rubbish during my speed builds anyway. Why not make that time a little bit more productive and just kind of combine the two ideas, get a best of both worlds kind of a situation? So I'll give you the kind of too long didn't read of my thoughts on the build, how it went, and then towards the end of this video, I will get into sharing my thoughts on whether or not I'd restart my island before the 2.0 update. So again, this video is of me decorating the outside of Kiki's house. I garnish it with plenty of Halloween decorations, plenty of pumpkins. I generally love how this entire build kind of slotted into this little area that I'd reserved for it. It's right next to my shopping district and next to my Nooks Cranny, which I did a speed build of a couple of weeks ago. So if you haven't seen that, do go and head over to my channel if you kind of want to see how my Colin Core island has been evolving. And I'm super happy to say that Colin actually put out an Instagram post the other day where he announced that he is going to be making winter versions of his, you know, iconic path. So my Colin Core island will be living into the colder months of this year. So we're kind of coming up on the end of decorating Kiki's house. Next, we're going to be moving on to the little orchard that I wanted to build. For a really long time, I've wanted to have a both practical but cute kind of orchard and also wood harvesting area, because I kind of am always a little bit afraid to just like knock off the fruit from my trees and, you know, get wood from my trees, because that, you know, they don't look cute when they're all naked. So I'm happy that I now have this dedicated space where I can do that. You'll notice that it is a little bit devoid of decoration, and that is because I wanted to keep as many free spaces on the ground as possible to allow for as many items to drop without losing any. Next, we're moving on to the massive pumpkin farm. I was super happy with how this turned out. It was kind of the perfect mix of practical and also decorative, because I get plenty of decorations in there, but we also have loads and loads of pumpkins. So that is the kind of lowdown on this entire build. Let's now move on to my thoughts on whether or not I'd restart my island before the 2.0 update drops. So way back at the start of this year, I put out a video where I explained why I'd never ever restart my island in this game. And if you kind of want to get the, you know, the beef of my thoughts on that is such a weird expression, and I don't even think it is the expression. If you want to get to the meat of my thoughts on this, maybe that's it. Do go and check out that video before kind of coming back to this one, because I think it kind of gives you a lot of context behind the thoughts that I'm going to be expressing. But the kind of too long didn't read of it was I saw how, you know, the kind of progression system of this game would be changed, especially and kind of most particularly by the introduction of the kind of expansion to Halves Island, and how, you know, we're gonna slowly be able to pay for more vendors to set up shop there permanently. And the progression system of this game is something which I have not been the biggest fan of, simply because there isn't really much there. So I was kind of thinking that, you know, getting to experience the game right from the beginning, and it's kind of what I'm going to assume is its most finished state, and I say that because, you know, Nintendo did say in the Direct that they're not going to be giving us any more substantial free content updates. So while we might get the occasional kind of item added and that kind of stuff, this game is pretty much done, I think we can say, for at least in some certainty now. And so I think it would be really interesting to kind of go back to the start of the game and experience all the changes that we've kind of had to it since its release. And just to kind of see what it's like now, because I've never restarted my island. Every update that we've got, I've kind of just played it as it's been added to the game, if that makes sense. Plus, I'm also extremely guilty of romanticizing the start of this game. I am an absolute slag for the prologue music, and it would also just be so nice to have a completely fresh island, you know, which hasn't been touched, which hasn't been messed around with, which doesn't have a, you know, flower problem. I have so many flowers on my island, but I feel bad throwing them away for some reason, which is ridiculous. So, you know, I think you guys can probably tell by now that I did talk myself out of wanting to restart my island. It was kind of just a very impulsive thought of like, oh my god, I could do this. And then I kind of, you know, took a step back and I did have a little think about all the reasons why I won't in fact be restarting my island. Let's get into those now. Firstly, I quite simply do not have the time that I did back when the game released because of the state of the world, you know, which was when the game initially released, to go back and to get my island to the place where it is now if I restarted. You know, I wouldn't have the time to gather as many bells as I have now, how many, you know, the DIYs I've collected, the villagers I have, the items that I've kind of expanded my catalogue with, as well as how many Nook miles I've gathered. And it's important to bring up Nook miles and bells in particular because the update is going to bring lots of things which can be redeemed with Nook miles, and Halves Island is going to cost bells to upgrade. Now, if I didn't make YouTube videos and if I wasn't particularly invested in the online AC community, perhaps I would, you know, restart my island because I could kind of take the game at my own pace and I wouldn't be constantly bombarded with seeing other people playing the update and all that good stuff. But that is simply not the situation that I find myself in, so I won't be restarting. Again, go check out the previous video that I did on this subject to kind of get my full thoughts, because I really dived in deep, but I think that, you know, the new update did kind of throw a bit of a spanner in the works. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, guys. Let me know what you thought of this speed build down below. I hope it was oopy spoopy enough for any of you guys who are wanting this speed build this week. And also, what are you guys going as for Halloween this year? What are you getting up to? Let me know everything down below in the comments, as well if you have any thoughts or suggestions. I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you again soon.